Get maximized, get optimized, get naturalized, exercise. Let your life get Mickey Mized, Mickey Mized, Mickey Mized, Mickey Mized. Mickey Mehta's Your Workouts.
The global leading holistic health guru, भारत में इक्विपमेंट फ्री ट्रेनिंग के अग्रदूत, 24 घंटों में स्विमिंग सिखाने के विश्व रिकॉर्ड होल्डर, भारतीय टेलीविजन और रेडियो पर वेलनेस को लाने वाले पहले शख्स, वेलनेस जॉनर में सोशल मीडिया की बादशाह, होलिस्टिक हेल्थ कैटेगरी में विकिपीडिया पर आने वाले एकमात्र एशियन जिन्होंने ट्रेन किया है बॉलीवुड के सितारों को, बड़े बड़े रईसों को, जाने माने नेताओं को और मुंबई पुलिस को, जिन्होंने भारत को कई मिस वर्ल्ड और मिस यूनिवर्स दिए, भारत के सबसे बड़े होलिस्टिक हेल्थ पोर्टल के संचालक, an author, a philosopher, an institution, the brand, the dream life coach, the legendary Mickey Mehta.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sameera Gupta, and today I would like to present to you Dr. Mickey Mehta's Agile Forever Mobile. Today is truly special because he's someone whom I have seen while growing up and admiring. He is India's highest and leading authority for holistic health wellness. Dr. Mickey Mehta, leading global holistic health guru and corporate life coach, the recipient of the Health and Wellness Icon of India, awarded by the Economic Times, and is among the 100 most powerful leaders of the world, as announced by the Global Wellness Conclave 2018. The first personal trainer of India, the first fitness columnist, and the first fitness TV and radio presenter in India, and still continues to educate us on these channels. The author of two very successful books, The Shuriam Quotient and The Lose Weight, Gain Shape, with 5 more books in the pipeline. The only one in India to have an honorary double doctorate in holistic health and life sciences for integrated medicine. Being invited to speak at Harvard University, IIT and IIMs across the world, he has a rare distinction of training the police, the army, the navy, and the Air Force. The coach to Mrs. India, Mrs. World, Miss Universe, along with the Bollywood biggies, politicians, and Indian billionaires. The author, the poet, the philosopher. He recently joined to support the Indian government's Fit India movement. The legendary, the Institute himself, Dr. Mickey Mehta. A warm welcome to you. Yes, Dr. Mehta. So tell me one thing. How do I address you? Dr. Mickey Mehta, Dr. Mehta, or how are you more comfortable?
Simply Mickey, Mickey Mouse in the house.
Wow, Mickey. That is so nice of you. Anyway, so coming to the point, why are the people 50 years and above, do you think, are galloping in the aging process? What is your opinion on this?
So the philosophy and the science goes like this, that one never grows old. When one stops growing, one becomes old. The biggest problem with mankind is that we stop growing. We stop growing cellularly. We stop generating cellularly. We stop growing in evolution. We stop growing in intelligence. We stop transforming in biology positively. Our physiology lags, becomes lethargic. Our biochemistry begins to fail. And of course, our organs get old. They are not rejuvenated. They are not revitalized. Our psychomuscular neuro coordination also slows down. Our muscles and bones are not challenged. So the growth doesn't happen. Toning doesn't happen. Strength doesn't happen. Agility is not there. Because of which the aging happens. Of course, we eat the wrong food. So we don't get the right energy. We don't rest well. We don't sleep well. We don't breathe well in a regulated way. So once again, we slow down. We don't take proper Ayurveda Panchakarma treatments like Abhyangam, Nasyam, Basti, Vaman, Virechan, Shirodhara. All these treatments keep us younger. We really don't take care of ourselves. We invite a lot of stress. We love to swim in stress. We love to drown in stress. We literally attract stress because of our way of life. So if one changes and turns everything around, breathes in a regulated way, eats very clean, green, exercises, does yoga very well, then one gets stimulated with all the elements, mingles with the sun, air, akasha, fire, earth, green, water. One would sleep very happy, one would meditate, one would pray, one would be positive, one would be optimistic, one would be affirmative, one would be life supportive, one would always spread joy. Such a person will never grow old. Such a person will probably never die to any disease. And such a person will probably embrace Ichha Mrityu, Ichha Jivan, Santhara, Vairagya, Yathapinde Tatha Brahmande, Aham Brahmasmi, Soham, Tattvamasi. So these are all philosophies of eternity. These are all philosophies of reference to eternity. These are all philosophies of being self-referral, which means your point of reference is within and not outside.
Right.
When your point of reference is outside, you become the other.
Right.
When your point of reference is inside, everything becomes one. Your universe and the universe outside actually are one. So there are invisible lines, invisible connections, and invisible energy integrations.
Okay, Mickey. So basically, being an occupational physiotherapist, in so many ways, I have treated a lot of children around. I just want to ask you one thing. The children who have got genes which work to their advantage are blessed, but the ones who don't have it, what do you suggest? Any special note?
So yes, we all humans are born with a predetermined genetic disposition. So that's the gene pool design. And the gene pool design will play out the program. Now this playing out of the program and would certainly draw all the diseases and ailments which were probably carried by the ancestors. And this could be avoided by conscious intervention of appropriate behavior. So let me reiterate, go back to my earlier sentence, that regulated breath with regulated exercise, a calibrated challenge to the body, calibrated challenge to the lungs, adequate rest, exceptionally good fuel, which means very clean, green food at the right time, right quantity, seasonal, regional eating, state of joy, meditation, prayer, and of course doing creative, productive work always, laughter, singing, dancing, state of integration with the society, beginning with your family and the family outside of you, your society, then your relationships, then your school friends, your college friends.
Yes.
With every community, if you're connected and if you're alive and there is joy, then
Yes.
certainly the program which is playing out will change into the program you want to play out.
Very well said.
And that program will be changed by you forming new memories. So new memories are formed by a science called neuroplasticity. And neuroplasticity translates into a science called epigenetics, which means you adapt to new memory, you play out the new memory, and that becomes your new impression, new imprint on your DNA and your gene pool. And that, if continues for years together, when you give birth to children, that changes and that your children are born with a fresh set of healthy genes. This is only possible because 95% of human genes are indeterministic,
Okay.
which can be changed, transformed, reformed at will. So it is said scientifically, Bruce Lipton says that your belief can change your biology.
Yes.
Mickey Mata says your faith can change your physiology.
Yes.
Your breathing can change your hormonology. And meditation and prayer can change your psychology. So with these interventions, you can change everything about a child and make sure the child will never get hypertension, diabetes, cancer, tuberculosis, paralysis, anything which was there in the gene pool of ancestors. So this is what I exactly do with so very many children that I work with closely,
Nice.
whose parents have been born with such set of genes. Or the second set of children I work with are parents who want excellence in studies, excellence in memory, excellence in sports, excellence in emotion, or I do psychological counseling or psychotherapies with them. So these
I
are the
think that is very important in today's time. There is so much pressure, there is so much stress, as what you rightly said. You have literally hit the nail on the head. I can tell you that. You know.
But Samira, let me tell you that you are practicing in the same area I started my journey also in Juhu. And you know the kind of feedback that I'm getting from so very many people. The reason I let you take my interview is because I treat you as equal and I treat you as a fellow professional who is more a healer than a occupational therapist or a physiotherapist. You are more a healer, and every such doctor who is more a healer. And your advantage is that A, you are a mother also, you're a woman also, and B, you are basically a very compassionate human being. You're born of lovely parents, your antecedents are very good. So you are an embodiment, an epicenter, an epitome of compassion. So obviously, every patient that you touch has to improve.
Thank you so much. You know, when it comes from someone so senior, it really touches my heart. And I wish I can do even 1/10 of what you have done to other people's lives.
I'm sure you will. It's just because I took a leadership position. When I started, there was nobody around in this industry. Most people came in after 15 years of my start. Most. Let me tell you, next month,
Yes.
and I celebrate 50 years of exercising.
Are you serious?
And I'm all of 58 and 38 years of professional life.
That is so good. It gives me immense pleasure to just be on this talk show with you.
It's just that I got a natural advantage. So when I was in uniform, none were there even in liquid form. So,
that is so cool. I love your one-liners, Dr. Mehta. Okay, now coming back to another point, which is very, very important in today's time. Most women over 35, they are all overloaded with a lot of work. They multitask so beautifully, giving time to their family, to their children. They try to do their work, but there's one very important point where they cannot manage or they are unable to, and where we feel, I think you can give some light to, is on their health. So can you say some few good notes on that?
yes, it is certainly very unfortunate that the women who look after this universe, I'm not saying our families, the women who look after this universe are not adequately and fairly treated or allowed to take care of themselves. Rather, women being so much giving, so much forgiving, so much blessing, they literally burn themselves looking after us. So actually, we as families, we must support every such woman in the house to make sure that they get time to recreate, they get time to exercise. You know, every husband, every brother, every father should take the women of the family out for restaurants, eating clean food and give them a break. Appreciate motherhood, sisterhood, womanhood, wifehood. Thank them every day. Make them laugh, make them sing, and make sure there are times when they are not doing anything and they're just sitting with you. And there are days in the week when you serve them, you feed them, you cook for them, you take away their burden. When this will happen, every woman will get a chance to look after herself and always be young forever. So my request to all families, all men especially, that be more than empathetic towards women. Don't have sympathy for them. No, they don't need your sympathy. They need your compassion. They need your empathy. They are just not the fairer sex. They are better of the sex. They are stronger sex. They are cleaner sex. And they are more noble sex, I would say. More noble gender. So let's take care of all the womanhood. Allow them opportunities to exercise, sing, dance, pursue the skills, pursue the talents, and make sure you accommodate that. And trust me, your woman will become more beautiful. She's already beautiful. Every woman is already beautiful. And look at Samira. She's beaming. She's glowing. She's a wonderful mother. She's a wonderful sister, a wonderful daughter, a wonderful wife. What a great lady and a wonderful healer. I'll never call her a So, families, support your women, celebrate them and uplift them. They deserve to be treated like goddesses.
I agree. What is your take on meditation? on that? How do you think we can benefit?
I'll tell you, meditation is the best medication. A human being completely evolved from being a speck of chemical found on the rims of volcano some billion years back, was called chemolitho-autotrophic hypothermophile, to now being a superconscious human being who can think, write, speak, understand, decipher, analyze, synthesize, pray, sing, dance, poetry, and science, create, produce. Can you imagine? So we are born of a mighty purpose, of a mighty power.
Hmm.
So when nature reached the pinnacle of existence in its creativity, man was born. And when man reaches its crescendo of creativity, pinnacle of existence, God again can be born. You and me are gods in seed form. You are Savitri, you are Saraswati, you are Lakshmi. I could be Krishna, I could be Shiva, I could be Muhammad, I could be Christ, I could be Zarathustra. So there is a God in all of us. Let's nurture it. And there is a ladder of evolution we have to grow upon. So only human beings can climb the ladder of evolution higher than gods. They can rise higher than gods or fall below animals, lower than animals. So let's rise higher. And as we rise higher, we realize that things like yoga, Ayurveda, they allow us to evolve, not just to survive and adapt, but constantly regenerate, constantly renew, and constantly work towards excellence. So, so there are principles of health and wellness. So
Yes.
the principles of health and wellness are: conserve your breath, preserve your body, get established in the flow, and synchronize the rhythm of your heart with the rhythm of the heart of the universe. So the unit rhythm gets synchronized with the unity rhythm,
Yes.
humanity comes to life, immunity comes to life. So if a human being follows these principles of fitness, health, wellness, well-being, organic unity, immunity, man will never fall ill. Man will always live. Once again, I reiterate, then man will have Vak Siddhi, Ichha Siddhi, Swasth Siddhi. So, Swayam mein sthit, Swayam mein upasthit, Swayam ki upasthiti, and Swastha, Astha. Swastha with Astha, faith. Living in faith, believing in faith, and translating everything into life force. So we become powerhouse and reservoirs of prana, urja, all the 5 vayus. So pran vayu, vyan vayu, saman vayu, apan vayu, udan vayu. See, these are all different functions. One is to function the heart, one is a function of your whole being, one is for the stomach, one is for the elimination of toxins, and one is responsible for increasing consciousness.
Very, very well said, Mickey. Very well said. I think in today's time, we need so many more, notes from your end, because you have words of wisdom with your experience, with your expertise, and being, a part of our country, which is just so much in need of someone like you. And you have raised the bar for every individual out there to work harder. So,
but that. I'm not surprised. We belong to the land of Rishi Munis. Rishi Munis who were seers, who were scientists and philosophers and poets. Can you imagine? Otherwise, in West, you will see one is a philosopher, one is a scientist, one is a poet. But when there is one in all,
yes,
that is the time he becomes godlike. So, we have to be like that, and we have to walk on those footsteps. We are the land of the Ramas and the Krishnas and the Shivas and the Mahabharatas and the Buddhas.
Well, I think if people can get even 1% to 10% of what you have said, and they can absorb it in their daily routine, I would say, man, there is going to be so much of a change. And we would really want you to be coming back for many, many more talks like this. Very motivating.
Of course. So then let me tell you, Samira, it is very unfortunate that today people are dying of a simple flu. It is aggressive, I understand. It is dangerous, I understand. But it is dangerous for the weak. It is dangerous for the uncompromised. While you cross roads, there are dangerous speeding cars going by, but does it mean it will hit you?
No.
Because you're careful, because you're conscious, because you're alert. Similarly, the immunity is very high, there'll be germs entering you and you'll be killing them by default, or you'll breathe them out, or you'll purge them out through your nose, or through feces, or through urination, or through sweat glands, or through breath. So, why a man has to die of simple flus, cancer, TB, asthma? Man is born of a mighty kingdom, of a mighty purpose, with so much of energy and so much of grace. Disease is disgrace. So, the forces of entropy, which break down the orderliness into disorderliness, like time, matter, space, light, motion, mass, causation, effect. We should counter it with yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dhyan, dharana, samadhi. So, disciplining, self-control, breathing, postures, seats of awareness for intelligence, then internalizing of senses, then attention, focus, concentration, transformation, manifestation, and samadhi, ultimate evolution. So our human physical body, when gets congruent with a cosmic body, the dividing lines of a sacred geometry is blurred and we become one sacred geometry like cosmos. And then the Radha flows from inside outside and becomes Dhara and comes back. And the Dhara flows back outside and becomes Radha and comes back. So all the elemental energies available to you, especially that of ether, because ether is a non-local energy, it is only available in this oneness, meditation, mingling with nature. It's not available in workouts, it's not available in food as much. But when you become non-local, when you become timeless, when you get into the states of consciousness which bring you to shunyata, clear your mind. So empty the mind the emptiness. When we say mindfulness, it is about mind full of light of consciousness, light of awareness, and empty of junk. So mind literally every day is broken into pieces because we perceive through 5 different senses into pieces. So our perceptions are fragmented. They are not one perception. So in meditation, all perceptions become one. Then what we add to that is foresights, insights, intuitions, extrasensory perceptions, multisensory perceptions, and we become antaryamis. So
I think there's a positivity in what you're saying. There's a lot of positivity.
Yeah, then we come to that Vedic mantra or that Vedic science which says asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityoma amrutum ghamaya. So from untruth to truth, the journey of evolution on awareness. From darkness to light and from death to eternity.
Wow.
This is what we are born for. This is what our ancestral forefathers have left for us. Let's walk that path.
I think very well said, Mickey, about the balance in terms of discipline, in terms of, breathing, in terms of breath, and internalizing mindfulness. I think there are some very, very key important parts which we need to really focus on out there. And today's time, the main part is your health is your only wealth. That's what I would say. And that's where you are, you've been practicing this forever, I know.
And let me tell Samira, my audience, and your audience, our audience, it's not about Hindu dharma. It is Hindu Sanatan dharma, which was the way of life and not a structured religion. The way people in Hindustan, the land of Indus, they lived, because the civilization is so old. Even astrology is 100,000 years old. Before words were born and before writing was born, astrology is dated that far, people understood. Our seers 10,000 years back, Patanjali seers,
yes.
Our saints could understand the earth is round, the earth is moving, the earth is vibrant, and the planets and the vibratory frequencies of planets influence us We are born out of the sun. We are heliocentric. Sun is heliocentric. We turn around the sun. Sun in turn turns around some other suns. And this all internal turning around makes us a big universal cosmic family. And in meditation, we access to all the energies of all the planets of this universe and many such universes which our Hubble telescopes and Kepler telescopes have not yet.
You know what? I think I'm totally enlightened by this talk. I have been practicing yoga and meditation past 13 years myself. But I don't know, I never gave it so much of an importance. Yes, I did it I heard about it, but now talking to you has given me so much more light into the day. I think
so let me tell you, even a Christian does meditation in the church. They kneel down and shut their eyes.
Wow, really?
Even a Muslim sits in Vajrasan and prays to God and dissolves himself and surrenders his ego before the nature.
Wow.
Every religion has meditation deep into it. So meditation doesn't belong to Hinduism. It is universal. It is a surrender to the higher. So it is a surrender to the higher, which says that, I would say, epistemological humility. That surrender to the wonderment of creative energy, creative phenomena.
Okay. So I think, the emphasis on sunlight, breath, eating right, and of course, exercise where we come into play. So exercise is not the only answer. It is a combination. Life is, a balance of all, which you have really very, very well emphasized. It's been such a pleasure to be here. It's been such a pleasure to be on a talk show with you. So I would like to say thank you so much, Mickey. Thank you once again. The author, the philosopher, the brand in himself, the institute, the legendary Dr. Mickey Mehta, who gets you energized, naturalized, optimized, maximized, wellness revolutionized, and gets you Mickey-mized.
Thank you very, very much. God bless you. Good luck. Hope
Thank you.
Soon.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, boogie.